It is quite a remarkable statistic. The World Health Organization estimates about 1 in 3 women will be abused by an intimate partner in their lifetime. And now here in the U.S., the Supreme Court is expected to rule on a law that denies guns to people under restraining orders, potentially putting weapons back into the hands of abusers. We spoke with 2 women who survived the unthinkable, shot by their partners multiple times. They're now sharing their stories to advocate for others. But some say the ruling comes down to one simple thing: Second Amendment rights. We do want to warn you, some of the subject matter in this story may be disturbing. With the threat of sea change on the horizon, Kate Ranta remains vigilant. She does not want to go back to the past.
Nobody would listen to me. I was flipping out.
She distinctly recalls knowing something terrible was going to happen.
I had told so many people for so long, and nobody would do anything.
And then it did, on November 2nd, 2012.
911, is your emergency?
Please, my estranged husband is here, and he's trying to get into my...
Give me your address. Give me your address, ma'am. Ma'am. He's trying to kill you out.
He knelt down, like on the other side of the kitchenette table, and had the gun, and he was kneeling right next to William. And he had the gun pointed at me and was kind of like taunting and playing with me with it. And all of a sudden, Will screamed out, and again, he had just turned 4. He had just turned 4. He screamed out, "Don't do it, Daddy, don't shoot Mommy."
I'm sorry.
You're dying?
I know.
It was while she was in the process of divorcing U.S. Air Force Major Thomas Maffei that he shot her twice. Once in her breast, once in her hand. He also shot her father, all in front of little William, who was just 4 years old.
It wasn't like in the movies and on TV. The police didn't come kick the door in and shoot and kill the bad guy. Nobody was coming in to save us. So either I was gonna die on that floor or try to get out the door. So I did, and I really thought that he was just gonna shoot me from behind as I left.
Bleeding profusely, she was lucky to get out alive. So was Angela Gabriel, a real estate agent in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. On February 22nd, 2017, the father of 2 of her children was angry. She was trying to defuse the situation by leaving the room and taking a bath.
One of the last things I remember hearing him say was, "I wish you would just shut up sometimes." And the next thing I know, I look up and he's standing in the bathroom door, and I see the last 2 gunshots.
He was firing and you didn't even realize?
Didn't even realize it. To this day, I don't remember him coming into the bathroom door and starting to shoot me. I can see the flash from the gun. I can see the recoil in his hand, and I can physically see flesh flying off my skin. And I am just dumbfounded, because this is someone that's supposed to love us, protect us, take care of us. Someone that's supposed to be protecting us from the outside. But here it is, how the saying goes about the fox in the hen house. I tell him to dial 911.
911, where's your emergency?
Look, I just shot my girlfriend.
You shot your girlfriend? What's your address?
I need an ambulance. I'm sorry.
He's on the phone with the 911 operator, and I'm thinking that I'm dying. And I said, "Oh my God, I don't want to die. I have 4 children."
Miraculously, Angela survived the 9 gunshots Carl Thompson unloaded into her.
Where is she shot at?
In the arm, in the chest, I don't know.
Is she still awake?
Yes.
But the life she once knew is over. She's now forever confined to a wheelchair, and to this day, she's still shocked that he actually tried to kill her.
But I thought that he would never do anything like that to me because we were friends. We'd always been friends.
Had you had any kinds of experiences of violence with him prior to February 22nd?
Yeah. He grabbed me by my hoodie and threw me out the back door. There's nothing going through my mind that this is a domestic violence type relationship. He is really losing it. He grabs me, he gets on top of me, and he's choking me.
Had he ever threatened, I'm gonna kill you?
He actually did. 90 days prior to him actually attempting to kill me, his words was, I'm going to empty my clip in your face. And I said, you know what, you have officially lost your mind.
But you believed him when he said he would never hurt you?
Yeah.
So when he said, you know, I'll empty this clip in your face, you didn't think he would do it?
I just thought that he was still angry at the world.
The number of women who don't survive when their relationships turn violent is staggering. Every month in the U.S., 70 women are shot to death by an intimate partner, and black women are 6 times more likely to be killed than white women. All of these smiles extinguished as a result of domestic violence.
Many people don't really think that it is a huge of an issue as it is.
Rosalind Page is a nurse in Little Rock, Arkansas. She spends much of her free time scouring the internet, looking for cases of black women and girls who have been murdered as a way to elevate their stories, which she believes have been underreported for too long. And that's why she started the nonprofit Black Femicide US.
Femicide is the intentional murder of a woman and girl based specifically on gender. You know, most of it is intimate partner violence. And most victims of femicide, they know their perpetrators.
When it comes to intimate partner homicides, more than 50% of the time, the weapon of choice is a gun.
If your abuser has a firearm, there's almost nothing you can do. So it really increases, realistically, the fear, but also the lethality. Women often stay because they're too afraid to leave the abuser.
Dr. Shitra Raghavan is a professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Her expertise is intimate partner violence.
We have plenty of data that if the abuser owns a gun, the likelihood that the woman will be lethally injured or severely injured immediately goes up.
Victims of domestic violence are 5 times more likely to die when an abusive partner has access to a gun.
And I go to the patrolman and I said, what's the difference between a protective order and a restraining order? And he looks at my neck and he looks at my arms and he says, those bruises that's on your arms and neck, is that why you asking? Or are you gonna file the protective order? I said, no, I don't think so. It's just gonna open up a can of worms. It's just gonna make him more aggressive. I just want to be done.
A restraining order offers some level of protection because federal laws prohibit those with temporary restraining orders from obtaining a gun, though it is up to individual states to enact them.
I did not file a restraining order because I thought he would just go away.
Without it?
Without it. Did not.
You regret that?
At this moment, I do. Because with the protective order filed, he would have had to surrender his weapons. But I didn't want to be judged. And the type of work that I do, people look up to me. And they expect to see like a strong Angela. And I didn't want anybody to know that there was another Angela. So when people tell you there's there's fear, there's embarrassment, and there's shame, you never know what you're gonna do until it happens to you.
Why do you think it is in the Black community in particular? Now, fortunately, you lived to be able to tell this, I mean, really miraculous story. But Black women are 6 times more likely than white women to die in domestic disputes.
It's prevalent in the African American community. I think it's because, number one, Black women are raised to be so strong. Our men feel like they might need to exert dominance some other type of way. It's the mental health, it's the poverty, it's the lack of love that a lot of our Black men miss.
The man who shot her, Carl Thompson, was convicted of attempted second-degree murder and sentenced to 45 years behind bars. As for Kate Ranta,
Wilson, don't do it, Daddy. Don't shoot Mommy.
she had to relive it all as her ex-husband was put on trial 5 years after the shooting. In 2017, he was sentenced to 60 years in prison without the possibility of parole. Kate has gone on to write a book and has even inked some of the words that gave her strength onto her body.
Sisu is a Finnish word for like courage, bravery, perseverance.
She's now an advocate.
What's happening here today could fundamentally change lives.
And there she was outside of the Supreme Court when the justices heard arguments in the case of U.S. versus Rahimi, which questions the legality of restricting gun ownership for those with restraining orders. In the case, Zachary Rahimi is challenging a federal charge of illegal gun possession in violation of a domestic violence restraining order as unconstitutional. Now, the question is denying someone the ability to possess a gun an infringement on their Second Amendment rights.
I'm like, are you kidding me? It's so offensive and so scary for women and children that are in these situations.
Just the mere presence of a firearm during a domestic dispute increases the risk of homicide by 500%. Advocates and experts alike warn the court's ruling on Rahimi could put people in abusive relationships at risk. If you were to talk to those justices today, what would you say?
That it is not a violation of their Second Amendment rights. If I would have put that protective order against him, 30 days later, he would not have had those guns. He would have not shot me, and I would not be paralyzed. I would say, please do not fail the women who are scared to go home every day.
What happened to Angela may have slowed her down, but it has not stopped her. She knows she's fortunate and counts herself blessed that she can still hug her children.
It's a struggle, but you have to learn to live a modified life. I just had to learn to change. And my tiny tribe, which would be my 4 children, like, it's us.
What do you say to that woman who, for some reason, isn't leaving, but is being abused?
This is what can happen to you if you do not leave, if you do not think about yourself first, because they will kill you. I don't care how many apologies you get, you have to leave. There is help. I believe it is our job to really shine a light on what's happening and let these women know that they're not alone.
We want to thank Angela and Kate for sharing their stories with us. During the reporting of this story, we learned that women who are strangled by their partners are 7 times more likely to be killed by them. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 or visit thehotline.org.